Before applying film to the window, the glass should be cleaned. Simply spray the glass and squeegee with an Unger handle squeegee. Make several overlapping passes and wipe all the edges dry. When measuring the glass to cut film, always measure your widest point and remember to leave a little extra for curvature. With your pre-cut film in hand, wet the entire window and place the film on the glass with the liner facing you. Position the film so that it is straight and the overhang is even on all sides. Once in position, use a hard card to lock the film in place to prevent movement during shrinking. To do this, simply run a hard card across the center of the film and then lock the side from top to bottom. The film does not shrink on the side, so locking the sides down prevents heat from damaging the film. This is known as an H-pattern layout. Carefully cut away any areas having large obstacles under the film. To prevent from cutting the glass, place a small piece of plastic between the glass and the film. The blade will cut through the film without contacting the glass, which will prevent any damage. Always cut a few inches larger than the window border in case of edge burn during shrinking. Wet shrinking focuses on a certain area of the film at a time. Fingers are generally larger on rear glass depending on the curve. The idea is to start at the top of the finger, working your way down. You will have to maneuver the finger and sometimes separate them to create multiple small ones, making them easier to shrink. Use a hard card to begin smoothing the film on the glass, being careful not to press before it is molded to the glass. Your heat gun should be held 4 to 5 inches away from the film, and the heat should be adjusted accordingly by watching the film's movement. This is vital to the film's molding capabilities. Too much heat without proper movement can burn the film. You must find a good combination that works at your pace. Continue this to the edge of the film. Some areas will require more attention than others. These areas will take more time and should not be forced too quickly to prevent burning the film. Watch as the film's movement dictates the installer's actions. As the film starts to shrink, the installer immediately maneuvers the film, separating the fingers and pressing molded areas. The top and bottom corners of the windows can be the most challenging. These areas require more patience and time. After the glass is squeegeed clean, lightly mist the window. Using a fabric softener sheet, wipe the window entirely. This will leave a milky residue on the glass. Once it is dried, you can apply the film to the glass. Please note, the more water you use, the longer it will take to dry. This will prevent film from sticking during the shrink process. The idea is to shrink a larger area at one time. Once the area is dry to a haze, apply the film to the glass with the liner facing you. Position the film so that it is straight and the overhang is even on all sides. Once in position, use a wet towel to wipe the area for an H pattern. Use a hard card to lock the film in place to prevent movement during shrinking. To do this, simply run a hard card across the center of the film and then lock your sides from top to bottom. Always keep in mind that the film does not shrink on the sides, so locking the sides down prevents heat from damaging the film. With the dry shrink method, the area you are working with is larger and the film takes the heat on directly. Constant movement and a slight angle of the heat gun is necessary. Keep an eye on the movement of the film. The film is floating on the glass, so you can use the heat gun to maneuver the film as needed. Adjust the height to slow down the heat transfer. Because of the close contact with the heat, you can use a glove on your opposite hand to smooth the film as you go. The film will smooth quicker with less heat, lessening the chance of burning. With your pre-cut film in hand, wet the entire window and place the film on the glass with the liner facing you. Position the film so that it is straight and the overhang is even on all sides. Once in position, use a hard card to lock the film in place to prevent movement during shrinking. To do this, simply run a hard card across the center of the film and then lock the side from top to bottom. The film does not shrink on the side, so locking the sides down prevents heat from damaging the film. This is known as an H pattern layout. Cut some relief on the lower trunk lid area. This allows you to lift and pull the film without affecting other areas. The idea here is to lift the film, slightly pulling at the same time while applying heat, with the film maintaining a position slightly above the glass. Your heat gun should be approximately 4 to 5 inches away, always paying close attention to film's movement. As the film shrinks in an area, lower the film to the glass and smooth it out with your hand or a hard card. Unlike wet shrinking, where you focus on a finger at a time, you will want to shrink across an area, working your way up or down from the center of the glass. You will notice this when you develop a smiley face shape on the surface of the film. At this point, you may want to move left or right, rather than continue downward. Always check progress by smoothing out the film with a hard card or your hand. To prevent from cutting the glass, place a small piece of plastic between the glass and the film. Here, the installer is using a shirt button. A buttonhole holds the blade in place and prevents slipping. This will allow cutting of the film without damaging the glass. Trimming 1/8 inch larger is a good rule of thumb when trimming the film. This distance may vary depending on how much room is available on the interior of the window. Use a portable light to help see through the film when making your final cut on rear glass. Avoid using any scrapers on the rear glass with defrosters, as you can damage the defroster lines. Using a white scrubby pad, scrub vigorously around the borders and entire glass, paying extra attention to dot matrix areas. For hard-to-reach areas, use a long handle scrubber. The better these areas are scrubbed, the more initial tack you will have when installing. Using a squeegee wrapped in a lint-free towel. Wipe all the edges, including the panel areas that film may touch during the installation. Using an Unger handle, squeegee the window starting at the top and use overlapping strokes all the way down. As you reach the bottom, the Unger squeegee can be adjusted to reach closer to the bottom of the glass. There are several squeegee types that can be used for the lower section when the Unger handle squeegee cannot reach. Along with good heat shrinking, proper preparation of the glass will save time by eliminating the need for heat setting edges. Reverse rolling prevents kinks and creases in the film from handling and is less prone to contamination since the adhesive is not exposed until it's directly in front of the glass to be installed. With the film squeegeed onto the glass, remove half the liner and spray the film underneath. Replace the liner over the film. Do the same thing on the opposite side. Now with the liner in place, begin to roll the film in a 1-inch size tube. When you have completed rolling the film, you should end with about 1 inch of excess liner. To begin the reverse roll, wrap the excess liner against the hard coat, exposing about 6 inches of the adhesive. Spray the exposed adhesive with mounting solution. As you unroll the film onto the glass, the liner will transfer to the back of the film. To prepare for installation, begin by thoroughly spraying the interior glass. Apply the exposed adhesive to the glass. Position it within a few inches of the bottom and lined up with the side. Start to unroll the film while also applying the film to the glass. Keep the film away from laying flat against the headliner area. As the film is unrolled across the glass, begin to position the film towards the bottom, followed by laying up the top. At this point, the liner will be on the back side of the film and can now be removed. Finish positioning the film to cover any daylight. If any large air pockets are present, smooth them out with the back of your hand. You can carry film over to the car from the transfer glass by carefully draping the film over both of your arms and crawling into the car while preventing the film from touching any area of the car on your way in. Once you position yourself in the rear seat, raise your arms over the seat and headrest and position the film to the lower part of the glass. Once positioned, raise your hands along the film to apply to the glass all the way up. Using the back side of your hand, carefully move any large air pockets to the edge before squeegeeing. Using a Blue Max with an Unger handle, begin to squeegee from the center out to the edges. Focus on pushing towards the corner as you switch from squeegeeing sideways to squeegeeing up and down. Always use a pushing motion and never pull the squeegee in order to remove the maximum amount of water. Finish the edges with extra pressure to prevent water from traveling back down under the film. Using a side swiper, squeegee the lower parts of the window. Wetting the film surface will allow the squeegee to slide easier. Finish the edges with a hard card wrapped in a lint-free towel. Multiple cards can be used to reach different areas. Take advantage of a wide tool selection to find out what works best for you. Some edges will require touching up. When you encounter a finger or lifted edge, wrap a hard card in a towel and from just above the finger press firmly against the edge. Apply heat if necessary to warm the glass and initiate extra tack. Press out around the finger's location. This will ensure you did not move the tension elsewhere. While the hard card and towel will close out most edges, occasionally you will need to heat set a particular spot with just a hard card. Apply heat to the warm glass. Press slightly with a hard card directly on the spot needing work. Do not overheat or apply extreme pressure, as both can damage the adhesive and cannot be undone. Always wrap a hard card and avoid any towel overlap. You want to have a smooth edge when wrapped.